Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex.
And my name's Martin.
And this is our first video published after hitting 10,000 subscribers.
Woo!
I was expecting more enthusiasm.
Woo!
It's more like it.
Yeah. To help celebrate this monumental occasion, we'll be doing loads of giveaways throughout the month of June. So make sure that you're subscribed and tick that little bell icon so you don't miss any of our shorts.
And a sincere and heartfelt thank you from the both of us to everyone who has helped us along the way and to you guys watching right now. But the biggest thank you definitely goes to our beloved patrons.
Without your continued support, we wouldn't be able to keep producing content like this. So thank you all for sticking with us. You guys are truly awesome.
As always, if you like any of the cards you see in this video, then be sure to use any of our affiliate links for these lovely people in the description box below.
And don't forget, you can save 10% off orders over $10 at flipsidegaming.com by using the promo code Affinity at the checkout.
And finally, you may notice the commanders Martin and I are using have been zhuzhed up ever so slightly, thanks to the channel's latest sponsor, the lovely people over at Alter Sleeves, who have both the designs that you see in this game and many more, all available for a very reasonable price.
But moving on to the game, we have some lovely guests to help us celebrate reaching our milestone, Dave and Ball from Split Second.
Thank you to both of our fantastic guests. And for now, on to the game. Martin is playing his Lord Windgrace Landfall deck. He is looking to outramp the entire table, get value landfall triggers, and, essentially, without putting too fine a point on it, jund us out. He keeps an opening hand containing Lotus Cobra, Genesis Wave, Sylvan Ranger, Savage Lands, Jund Panorama, a Forest, and a Swamp.
Dave is playing his Alesha Who Smiles at Death deck. He is looking to get value from her attack trigger, bringing back creatures and either combo us out or just grind us into the long game. Dave keeps an opening hand of Soul Ring, Enlightened Tutor, Dockside Extortionist, Riverlark, Silent Clearing, Sacred Foundry, and a Mountain.
I am playing my Feather the Redeemed deck. My lovely angels looking to win with commander damage, play low CMC spells, and outvalue people with massive card advantage in Boros.
That just doesn't sound right to me.
No, it doesn't, does it? I keep an opening hand of God's Willing, Mana Tithe, Knight of the White Orchid, Monastery Mentor, a Mountain, and 2 Plains.
Ball is playing his Kemba Core Regent deck. He's looking to make Kemba massive with loads of equipment and use her ability to flood the board with little kitty cats. He keeps an opening hand of Enlightened Tutor, Moran Crusader, Tajnar Swordsmith, Teferi's Protection, Sword of Feast and Famine, Argentum Armor, and the Plains.
Martin is chosen to go first and starts the game off by playing a Forest before passing to Dave.
In Dave's turn, he plays a Mountain and then taps it to cast the turn 1 Soul Ring. Now the envy of the table, Dave passes to Alex.
For my turn, I play a simple Plains and then end without casting anything.
Ball follows suit with Alex and also plays the Plains before passing to me.
Martin plays a Swamp and casts a Lotus Cobra.
Don't you mean Lotus Cobra?
No, I don't. Out of mana, he ends his turn.
For his turn, Dave plays Sacred Foundry, having it entered tapped, and passes to Alex.
In my turn, I, wanting to get value out of the Knight of White Orchid in my hand, play a Mountain and pass the turn without casting anything. In my end step, Ball responds with a very pretty Enlightened Tutor, which he used to put a land tax on top of his library before proceeding to his turn.
Ball draws his land tax and then casts it.
I would like to respond to that with a Mana Tithe, because you did not play a land before that.
Ball's land tax is countered, and he then plays Crystal Vein as his land for turn, cries, and passes to me.
Martin plays a Savage Lance for his land, producing a green mana with Lotus Cobra. He then uses this mana and 1 to cast Sylvan Ranger to put a mountain into his hand. Moving to combat, he attacks me for 2 with his Sneck. I take the damage, and Martin ends his turn.
In Dave's turn, he plays a Silent Clearing and then casts his commander, Alesha, who smiles at death. Keeping mana open, Dave passes to Alex.
For my turn, I play a Plains and then cast just a Monastery Mentor.
Just a Monastery Mentor?
Just a Monastery Mentor. Out of mana, I end my turn.
Ball draws for turn and passes.
Damn, that land tax must have been important.
You counted it!
I know. For Martin's turn, he plays a mountain, creating a green mana with Lotus Cobra. Using this mana and 4 mana, Martin casts his commander, Lord Windgrace. Martin then +2s Windgrace to discard a land and draw 2 cards. Moving to combat, Martin attacks Ball for 2 damage, literally kicking a man when he's down. Martin then moves to his end step. Here, Dave casts Entomb. However, in a very ballsy play, Ball sacrifices his Crystal Vein for 2 mana to help cast an Aven Mind Sensor. The bird resolves and Dave searches the top 4 cards of his library and elects to put Opposition Agent into the grave.
Because that's not scary.
Dave then moves to his turn.
Dave starts his turn off by playing an Ancient Tomb and then taps 4 mana to cast Skyclave Apparition. After some deliberation, Dave decides to exile Alex's Monastery Mentor.
Rude.
The Mentor is exiled and Dave then moves to combat. Here he attacks my commander with Alesha and I block with Sylvan Ranger. The elf is killed with Alesha's first strike damage and Dave then passes to a rather annoyed looking Alex.
In my turn, I finally play my Knight of the White Orchid, and since Martin controls more lands than me, my Knight triggers. I search the top 4 cards of my library and thankfully do find a Plains.
Lucky.
The land is put on the battlefield tapped, and I then pass to Ball.
Ball moves straight to combat in his turn, attacking my precious kitty with his bird. I have no flyers to block with, so Windgrace takes the 2 damage. Ball then passes, once again missing his land drop.
Martin plays a Jund Panorama, generating a green mana from his Sneck. Using this mana and 4, he casts Obnixilis the Fallen. He then pluses Windgrace up to 7, discarding a Golgari Rot Farm to draw 2 cards before passing the turn.
Dave starts his turn off by casting Wishclaw Talisman and then moves to combat. Here he declares an attack at Lord Windgrace of Alesha, and I throw my snake under the first striker's boot to save my kitty's precious loyalty. Leaving Wishclaw mana open, Dave then passes to Alex.
In my turn, I tap 3 and cast my commander, Feather the Redeemed. I then pass to Ball, keeping up my lovely feather saving mana.
Ball draws for turn, and then passes. Big sad.
For Martin's turn, he plays a forest which triggers Obnixilis. He puts 3 +1/+1 counters on his demon, and then has Dave lose 3 life per Obnixilis' ability. Martin then taps 2 lands to float 2 mana, and then -3s Lord Windgrace. With this, he returns Golgari Rot Farm and Rakdos Canarium to the battlefield, bouncing his 2 tapped basics. Obnix then triggers twice, and Martin has both myself and Ball lose 3 life each, and puts a further 6 +1/+1 counters on the demon. Next, Martin uses floating mana to help cast Savage Twister, where X is 4. I respond to this by casting God's Willing, giving my commander protection from red. I scry a card to the bottom with my instant, and the board is then wiped of all creatures apart from Feather and Obnix. With Dave's spirit now gone, I also create a 3/3 blue illusion token. Which, yeah, that'll do. Moving to combat, Martin attacks me with his now massive Obnix. I block the Swole Demon with my token, and Martin then passes to Dave, who responds with an Enlightened Tutor of his own. Dave uses the instant to put Ultra Dementia on top of his library. God's Willing returns to my hand, and Martin then discards a forest for hand size before ending his turn.
Dave plays City of Brass as his land for turn, and then casts the aforementioned Altar of Dementia. Dave then taps his tomb, taking 2 damage, and recasts Alesha. Dave then moves to his end step, where Alex responds by casting Crimson Wisps targeting Feather. He takes the damage from his Pain land, draws a card, and then Dave passes the turn with the Wisps returning to Alex's hand.
In my turn, I play a mountain and then recast Crimson Wisps to draw another card.
How original.
I then cast Fist of Flames, draw another card to give Feather +3/+0. I then thrillingly and climactically pass the turn, returning my spells to my hand before moving to discard.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
I got spooked by Obnix, alright?
Ball draws for turn, and we all wait with bated breath. He reveals the card to be a Plains,
Woo!
which he then plays and casts Aethersworn Canonist. Do you think he's trying to slow the game down slightly so we can join in?
Perhaps.
With nothing more to do, Ball passes to me.
Martin plays a mountain and uses Obnix's ability to deal 3 damage to Dave and put 3 more counters on Obnix. He then +2s Windgrace to discard a forest and draw 2 cards. Martin then casts Geode Ranger as his 1 non-artifact spell. He then sacrifices Jund Panorama to put a forest into play tapped. The Ranger triggers, goading me for my next turn, which leads us to a discussion about whether or not I can attack Martin's Planeswalker. After a brief trip to the Judge subreddit, we find that I in fact cannot attack Windgrace.
Ha!
Moving to combat, Martin declares an attack at Dave for 15 damage with Obnix. Dave blocks with Alesha and then sacrifices his commander to the Altar of Dementia before damage. He targets himself with the altar and mills 3 cards. Now, out of things to cast, Martin passes to Dave.
In his turn, Dave taps his clearing, losing a life, and casts Demonic Shooter. He searches his library for a card, puts it into his hand, and then passes to Alex. In response, Alex casts Crimson Wisps again, draws a card, and moves to his turn.
What can I say? I like drawing cards.
Alex, your blue is showing.
Moving to my turn, I play Slayer's Stronghold as my land.
Slay!
Then, as I have to attack, I decide to attack Ball for a measly 3 commander damage. In my main 2, I, trying to stem some of my own bleeding, cast Gisela Blade of Gold Knight, which, in retrospect, was a terrible idea.
I think it was a great play, dear.
Oh, thanks, honey. That's really Wait, why?
It doesn't matter, don't worry about it.
Anyway, now out of mana, I pass to Ball.
For his turn, Ball plays an Emeria Shattered Skyclave as his land for turn, and then casts Moran Crusader. Hoping that his Canonist buys him another turn, Ball tentatively passes to me. In his end step, I cycle Baron Morse to draw a card, and then move to my turn.
In Martin's turn, since he can only cast 1 spell, he decides to go big, and cast Genesis Wave, where X is 6. From this, he puts Morag, Fury of Chrome, Zendikar's Royal, and 4 separate lands into play, which are Myriad Landscape, Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, Warped Landscape, and Drownyard Temple. Which all cause, oh sweet Urza, so many triggers. So let's chunk this down. Martin puts 12 counters on Obnixless and has me lose 12 life, because it's life loss, not damage, so my angel doesn't protect me from it.
Technicalities!
He then creates 4 2/2 green elementals and goads everyone else at the table. And Martin finally resolves Morag's trigger, giving him 4 additional combat phases this turn. Still not finished, Martin also -2s Windgrace to put Jund Panorama and a forest back into play. This creates another 2 elementals, gains Martin another 2 combat steps, and makes me lose another 6 life. Martin then cracks his Jund Panorama and Warped Landscape to put 2 more basics into play, which causes another 2 rounds of triggers. So I lose another 6 life, Martin gets 2 more elementals, another 2 combat phases, and Obnix can now deal 1 lethal to damage to anyone in the game. Moving to combat, Martin first takes me out with his first few combat steps, each time granting his attackers a +1/+0 buff thanks to Morag. Then Martin attacks Dave with Obnix and Bal with Geode Ranger. Dave responds to this with his Swords to Plowshares on Obnixilis. Martin gains 43 life and kills Bal with his Red Elemental. And then with his last 3 combat steps and a pile of +1/+0s now on the Ranger due to Morag, Martin is able to smash down Dave for the win. All in one single, extremely long turn. Was that really necessary?
Necessary? No. Fun? Yeah.
For who?
Me.
This is why people don't invite us places.
I think that's more you, to be honest, dear.
Yeah, it's true.
And that will be it for today's video. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. A super huge thank you to Ball and Dave from Split Second for joining us. We had a wonderful time playing with you both.
And remember, if you like this type of content, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with what you enjoy about it. We read every single one of them.
You can also follow us on Twitter @4Commander.
Or if you really like us, you could consider becoming a patron of the channel yourself for access to exclusive EDH related rewards.
That's all for now though, folks. We'll see you next time. Here's to another 10k.